You too. All right. This is the Member Success Series on April 16th, 2025. I'm super excited about this episode. Welcome, Chuck. Thanks for being here, for being my co-host. Been
Love it.
amazing time here. We have two incredible guests today that I'm just absolutely excited to talk to. I'm glad you guys were both available at this time. These are two amazing women who are also Alignable ambassadors in their respective cities, and I got to meet them in person. In fact, I'm in Phoenix right now with Sharon, and we see each other almost every week at events. So real quick introduction from me. I'm Sue. I've been on Alignable for many, many years, and I came on the Alignable team back in almost 5 years ago. Will be my 5-year anniversary coming up in September. And fun fact, I live and travel in a motorhome, and I get to teach people how to use Alignable. I work from the road, so I'm having a blast out here. So Chuck, go ahead and do an introduction, and you can popcorn it to whichever lady you want.
Okay, great. Well, I am very happy to be here today, and I'm Chuck Casto. I am the head of PR here at Alignable, and I'm also the contest king, and I do a few other things here. So I am very excited to see everybody, and I don't know Sharon all that well, but I know Maria well through all of the contests, and in fact. Maria and I were just recently in a media interview together because Maria was attracting a lot of attention in the Allentown, Pennsylvania area. So she was nice enough to say, "Hey, Chuck, come on over." So we had a great time. And anyway, yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Awesome. Maria, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So hi, I'm Maria Wirth, and I'm here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, actually the Lehigh Valley area, which is about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia. And I've been an Alignable ambassador for about 2 years, and I've been on Alignable since I think around 2017 or 18. So I've been around not as long as you, Sue, but for quite a while.
Actually, I think you've been on longer than me now that I think about
Possibly.
it. I think you have, because I didn't get really started till right before the pandemic, so 2019 or something. But I met I now that's kind of a lie, because I met the co-founder in 2014. So I was on Alignable, but there wasn't anything on Alignable back then. So I guess I could say, until right before when I started getting more active. But Sharon, go ahead and introduce yourself. Oh, you gotta unmute.
We're on mute still.
There you
Here
go.
I am. All right. Hello. I'm Sharon Caudell from Phoenix, Arizona. I became an ambassador about a year and a half ago, and I am so thrilled that I did. I was on Alignable a year prior to that. And since I've been an ambassador, I have broken out of my shell. I was such an introvert. I'm just so excited that I joined the ambassador team. It's wonderful. I encourage everybody to do it.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about the ambassador program, absolutely, for sure, because these two ladies are top ambassadors out there. And, I'm all about, Alignable is all about building relationships and sharing our stories. And I really want to hear from both of you, if it's okay if I start, Chuck, with this. But
Sure.
Sharon has an amazing business story on how she acquired her business. And then I want to hear from Maria. So only because Sharon and I have been talking a lot, we're hanging out in person together at all these events, but she has such a great story. Can you just share real quickly how you got, what your business is and how you acquired it?
Yes. So I worked for a gentleman, an entrepreneur, for over 31 years, doing his bookkeeping. He was ready to retire, and I wasn't. And so me and my husband actually purchased the business from him 3 years ago. And it has just been awesome. And that's when I joined. One of my clients said, "Hey, you should go to Alignable." So I went to one of the meetings here in Phoenix, and I was so scared. I was just like, didn't want to go. Never been to anything like that. And the ambassador said, "Hey, you should go ahead and become a co-ambassador." So I applied, And then I got the news that I was going to be the ambassador, that the other ambassador was gone, and I was terrified. I was like, what? No, I'm an introvert. I do bookkeeping. I'm behind the scenes. I train people but then I realized, wait a minute, why did I buy this business? And in bookkeeping and finance, no one's going to come knocking at my door. Here's your, here, I need all your social security number. No one's going to give me all their personal information. You don't know me from Adam. So I grabbed that brass ring and took it and said, this is my opportunity. Otherwise, why did I buy the business? What am I doing? How am I going to get new clients? So I took it and ran, and I'm so excited that I did.
I love it. And I have to tell you, I was here in Phoenix doing on my road trip. When was that? A year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. And Sharon was there. And I remember saying, we need another ambassador, a co-ambassador. And she was like, like, okay, no. And then I remember I came back last year and said, here's the microphone, because she had a pretty good group that showed up when I was there speaking. And she was like, the microphone, like she was and now it's like, here, Sharon, oh yeah, and she just she has come out of her shell so much.
Yeah.
And I just love it. So you have such a really, really good story, Sharon, so thank you for sharing that. Maria, do you have a story similar like that? How'd you get going?
Well, I'll tell you how I got started as an ambassador. I found out about the program, and I was like, I'm going to do that. Like one of those things, you make a note and then you don't do it quite right away. And so I was on the phone with, I own a barter company, and I have a trading partner in Michigan, Evan Kay. And Evan said, hey, you know what? I decided to do that. You told me to become an ambassador, and I did, and it's awesome. And I was like, and Chuck knows, like, I'm a little competitive, so I was like, somebody else is doing it, and I told them to do it, and they did it first. Like, what? So I'm like, okay, now it's time. And so I go on, I get the training, and I go ahead and start doing the events. Now, I have done in-person events, and I've hosted in-person events for a very long time, because I have a membership organization. So that part, it's not like scary to me or anything, but I always want to be, doing a really good job at whatever it is that I'm doing. So at the time, you could just do like the online meetings. And then at some point, because they're like little birds go out of the nest now, they said you must do in-person events. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I got it all together, got the event going. And unfortunately, actually, my partner Scott had a serious heart condition that he needed an operation for. And he's always like there for me, doing the things that like I don't want to do, which is like sit there and take like registration and stuff. Like that's not me. I'm like all over the place. So the day that was my first in-person event, he had just gotten surgery the day before. And I was just like, whoa, okay, I got to do it all by myself, and I think I'll be okay. And then lo and behold, I had like almost 40 people there, and it was amazing. And I was so happy because honestly, it brought me up from being in a place where I was, obviously like a little nervous, feeling alone. And here I get with this wonderful group of people. And that's something that I think I haven't been to many other alliances in terms of their meetings, except some local, close by me here. But I feel like it's always this very heartwarming and friendly environment, because there's times that you go to networking events and you walk in and people look at you like, are you part of our clique? And I hate it. I hate that. So I make a concerted effort that if I see someone that I don't know, and I kind of try to memorize people's faces and names and business names before the event, so that if I see them, I can actually walk up and say, hey, Candace, I'm so glad you made it. This is like your first event, right? And then they're like, how did you do that?
Wow.
It's then, they're just happy as a clam, afterwards. And then they come back and they, bring other people. So
I love it. By the way, I'm going to post in the chat. I'll go grab the link. Next week, I'm bringing back my event, Chuck, Networking for Introverts. I'm doing it next week. So I have some really good tips because I'm an introvert and it's how I grew all my businesses. But I'm teaching you how to find the other introverts. You'll see. So Chuck, what questions do you have for these amazing ladies?
I just want to note there are a great deal of huge number of introverts on Alignable. And in fact, I think Alignable really does help to bring the introverts out of their shell, which is wonderful, and we got to do more stories about that. But anyway, so let me ask Sharon,
Mhm.
tell me what's been most rewarding. Maria sort of went into, what's been very rewarding for her as an ambassador. How about you?
Um, Along with what she had just said, I do look at like the roster of who's going to be coming to my events, and mine are usually very small, even though I'm kind of like in charge of like a big area and I try to get as many people, but sometimes I'll only have, there's been times where I've had 3 people. And we have sat for 3 hours just chit-chatting and getting to know each other and laughing. And then they come back again. And then there's 10 people at the meeting. And part of it for me is when I see who's there, I'm already in my brain, and I learned this from Sue, and she was first teaching me and stuff. She would, say like, how can I get these 2 people networking together? So I do see, hey, here's an engineer, and but maybe they'd have nothing in common, but I'll try to find something or just introduce them. And to me, that's the fun part. Looking over there and seeing two businesses getting all excited and hearing, okay, we're going to meet up, next week, or I'm going to call you. And I get such a butterflies inside. It makes me so happy that to me, that's okay. That's a success. This was worth it. So every month I do look forward and I see something happening. I want to make it happen. I make sure everybody is introducing to everybody and, hey, have you met, so and so, and it's building those friendships that I know it's like the old cliche, but it is so true. For a year and a half now, not only I also go to other ambassadors events on theirs just to support them, to get to know other businesses, not just the local businesses here in Phoenix, but in other cities all throughout. I feel it's very important. To me, the whole message is we are here all to support each other. We're here to help each business grow and learn from each other. And I just purchased a business. I asked other business owners, what were your failures and successes? I'm new to this. What about marketing? Or I have tons of questions. I don't know everything. So I'm excited when I'm at my meeting and I go to other people's meetings. I'm there to learn too. So
I love it. So are you guys speaking of getting support from other business owners, because that's why Alignable was built. Alignable was actually built to help connect business owners to each other, because one of our co-founders was in a little Acton, Massachusetts, I think it was, right, Chuck? And he
He
was
is. Yeah, both of them were in Acton.
oh,
Yep.
were they? And then I guess
Yeah.
Ben Cat was talking, see if I get this right. He was talking to a business owner on one side of the main street and said, well, don't you know the guy across the street? And he's like, no. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And he was totally shocked. And so he wanted to build a community like Alignable so that we all have access to each other and learn from each other. So let's ask these guys, in groups or on Alignable, how do you guys act, or what kind of things or tips, I guess, you could give on how to act on Alignable to help? What do you do to help other people on the platform rather than in person? So there's a lot of people that don't have the in-person stuff. Maria, do you have any tips to start with?
Well, I also run an online group, Pennsylvania Business Forum. And so that's my way to really connect people statewide where there's too much of a divide for people to go from Allentown to Pittsburgh, and meet one another. And oftentimes there's a lot of synergy between all those businesses in one state. So within that group, we have workshops. I actually do my Alignable class there. So I teach people how I use Alignable, and then also, of course, just participating in the groups. I tell people, until they have a big network, getting in a big group where there's thousands of people that maybe you have synergy with, anything you put out there is going out to all these people that are paying attention within that group, and there might be 200,000 members, or it might be specifically something that's like for your industry, like, the gift industry or restaurants and so forth. And that's an amazing opportunity. And sometimes in these groups, you'll see somebody ask a question And I actually showed this like live in an Alignable class that I did. And somebody like within minutes or an hour had just so many, like 68 comments. Obviously, people are paying attention. And if, I could say it, but if you go to a LinkedIn group, it's like there's nobody. There's like the person who runs that group, they'll post, there's like one other person and another person, and you go back, it's like, oh, 2 months before somebody posted and 1 month, and there's just no activity. I have tried to be a part of many different LinkedIn business groups, but I have never found them to be as active and helpful as the Alignable groups, all of them.
I love it. And I love what you said about, and maybe, I don't know, Sharon, have you had any experience in any groups on and asking questions or helping people in groups?
Yeah, so not only am I obviously in the bookkeeping and accounting ones, I also expanded out, being a businesswoman owner, so I've picked a lot of different types groups. I think the fun part is going in there and just having a conversation. Maybe I don't know the answer, or just when you see the question, it's like, oh, okay, well, how are you able to resolve that? Or, I tried this. Did this work for you? Just that alone, having that connection and conversation goes a long way. It's powerful and it's fun, and you're laughing even though you're typing away, and you're not seeing each other on a Zoom meeting, but you can feel the sincerity when they're typing and when you're conversating back and forth, and it's real, and it's exciting. And I see more and more people doing that, and just even saying, hey, what a beautiful photo. I love your new logo that you just put up. How did how long, what was your other one like? Just striking up those conversations and stuff. And it's not about, oh, so then I can get business. It's just helping each other. It's just being friends. It's building those relationships that, hey, I'm here for you on any level that I might be able to help. So it's a lot of fun.
I love it. Chuck, you got another question?
Oh, so good. So good, Sharon. You know what? Because we hear this all the time, and then we pass it on to everyone at Alignable who may not be hearing it as much.
Mm.
But do you think that especially, with times being a little on the crazy side, right now. How important is, and I'm going to ask you, Maria, because I know you're right in the center of the Allentown community. How important is it now to really be teaming up with new referral partners and maybe even current customers and trying to, help each other more than ever?
I think that obviously it's always important, but when people are feeling uncertain and scared, they kind of get what I call like in frozen mode. And
Yeah.
so when you can reach out to people and kind of give them hope and some energy that's positive energy, I think that means like the world. And I saw it because I started my business in 2010. And at that time, people were really scared to do anything that wasn't like the roof is leaking or I need to get tires or else I can't pass inspection, that kind of thing. And so to get people out of that mindset was somewhat challenging, and having anything where people are supporting one another and saying, yeah, we're gonna like create alliances, we're gonna work together. Like I said to somebody today, I said, I decided to work with somebody, whether it's just like me and like my co-leader for Pennsylvania Business Forum. We're not getting paid, but I have to love someone and I have to feel like I really enjoy spending time with them and I trust them implicitly. I don't have to question anything. Those are the people that I want to have as referral partners for whatever reason. And once I get that, like I met someone in Texas, I was just telling Sue on Alignable, I just really like the guy. And he said, you want to meet? And I said, sure, I'll find, I'm really curious what you do. And I have this event coming up on Thursday, and it's a benefit for mental health awareness. He his owner ended up meeting with me, and they donated $400 worth of gift cards to the event.
Wow.
And they said, you pick the restaurants, whatever is local, independently owned, and it's just your choice. And So I said, okay, I'll take $200 to this sandwich shop and $200 to this restaurant. And they were like, done. Guy emailed me. He said they're ready.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I think
Wow.
right now with the way things are, what I had found is, and I think sometimes people forget, it's not just about like say my new event, my event that's going to be coming up in a few weeks or going to the one that's coming up this Thursday. It's going back through my contact list and not forgetting about people that maybe kind of gotten scrolled down at the bottom and just saying, hey, how are you doing? Anything I can help you with? And they're like, oh, hey, or if I have their phone number, it depends on what type of connection that we had, or I'll call them up and say, hey, Jane, how's it been going? We know we haven't talked in a couple of months, or, how are things going? And then there we go, and then we start, talking, and before you know it, and you start networking again, like, well, now I need this. And then so you can't forget about all your contacts, not just moving along, meeting new. Don't forget about the ones that started in the very beginning also, that helped you in the very beginning. So be very supportive of them and don't forget about them.
You know what, you guys, that was gold. And Alignable 360, if you guys have not really dug into that, I don't know if the two of you have,
I
but
know
that
Maria
is,
has, yeah.
I
oh,
have
good. Okay. Yay. I want to talk to you about this, because Alignable 360, where you go to My Network and you can go through and it gives you ways you can click on the person, you can send it. And then there's another one. If you guys are on any of the paid plans, you have a new connections page. I don't know if you guys even know about that. It's brand new. And you can actually sort by the last time you messaged someone. So, which is amazing, because, I gone through and went, oh, I haven't thought of, Jerry for a while. Oh my gosh, I haven't messaged him in 6 months. I better send him a message. So, okay, Maria, you're shaking your head a lot. What have you done on Alignable 360? Any tips, anything? Go ahead.
I'm telling people at the events, I'm like, I'll go there with my phone. And I'm like, look, see, can you see how cool this is? Look at that. Is that amazing? And then they're like, whoa. And so I tell them, if you look at everybody that I'm connected to, which is like over 5,000 people, and you want to be
Holy
introduced to someone,
cow.
just, and then the one guy was like, well, how many times a week can I do that? And I was like, oh, wow, I guess, but usually people are pretty reasonable. I said, well, like, I don't know, 10 or something. Cause if like 100 people did that, I would probably have to scale it back at that point. But it is so good the way. I think that what's great about it is the clarity of it and how quickly you can go through it and do what you want to do. Because we don't have a lot of time. And so if you could do something in a really quick manner, like I said to Stacy Wesco, I think you were copied on that, Chuck. And I said, can you believe this? I can figure this out in 2 minutes. How many businesses are unalignable in these 3 cities? I said, I can figure this out like that immediately. What other platform can you go on and can you find that information out so quickly? Like, you give me 10 categories, like plumbers, electricians, attorneys, whatever it is. You give me 3, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 cities. I will get you a list in like 2 minutes. That is incredible to me. So Alignable is just so functional and so easy to use. That is honestly what makes it great. You don't have to figure it out all that much. Of course, to some extent, and I try to show people the navigation when I, do the Alignable classes, just so people know certain little things that I feel are really important that might get, by the wayside, like the invite business owners thing, where if you know a bunch of people, like, why not invite, if you like, let's say you have 1,000 email addresses in your constant contact or your MailChimp or wherever, why not invite all those people to Alignable and get free connections? I had like 800 connections organically before I even had a paid plan, just from inviting all of my friends in business. So that's one thing I think that it's just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or I go back and check that every once in a while. And I've invited pretty much everyone that I know on planet Earth at this point. So there's not much more I can do, but other people.
That's awesome. If you guys don't know what she's talking about, when you go to My Network, there's a thing that says contacts, And if you click on that, it gives you a page that shares what your network reaches. And then you can actually put in your email address, click find connections. Alignable instantly goes out to all the almost 10 million profiles on Alignable, and they'll instantly come back and say, hey, here's about 45 people that you already know. Go connect with them for free without even using your connection credits. And then it allows you to go ahead and invite anybody in your address book as well. And then if they decide to join Alignable, they let you connect with them for free. That's how you guys all got here, by the way, is an invitation from someone.
Yep.
So, and then on Alignable 360, I don't know, Sharon, if you've had any chance to do that. I know on our in-person events, I've been telling everybody that I can go to your profile, I can click see matches. This is Alignable 360's magic. And then I can go through your matches and it will tell me which one of the people in your network are my ideal customers and referral partners. And then I can ask you for an introduction. So have you used any of that or tried it? What's your experience with that kind of thing?
I haven't done anything on the 360, but what I found interesting, what we had just found out like a month ago, was when we were at the meeting, at one of my meetings, Peter had said, hey, how can they were signing up like on the sheet if they didn't have the app, and we're like, no, use the QR code. And but then how can we not use our credits and connect with each other with that QR code? To me, that was like, everybody was so excited to hear about that you don't have to waste your connections credits online, that you're in person. You have it on your phone and you go around to everybody that you'd like to connect with, and there you go. So that was something new that I had just learned and taken advantage of, and I'm spreading the word all over on that one. To me, that's huge.
Exactly. And by the way, that's for if you're actually at an alliance event, but if all of you go, let's say you're at a BNI meeting or at a Chamber of Commerce mixer and you're talking to somebody and they're like, Alignable, what's that? Because you get that a lot. A lot of people don't know about Alignable. If you take your phone and you go not on the app, you can't get it on the app yet. They're getting it there. They're building it. But if you just go on your app to your browser and go to Alignable and log in, right there where the search box is a little tiny square that you click on, and that's your QR code. And you can literally hold it up anywhere. You can be online at Walmart and meet a business owner and say, hey, you need to join Alignable. You can hold up that QR code. They can scan it and join Alignable on the spot. And you're connected with them without using your connection credits. And there you go. And then someone asked in the chat, where can I find Alignable 360? You have to be a paid member on Alignable. You got to be a member or premium plus, and you're automatically get access. So all you do is go to my network, and that's your network page. That's your Alignable 360 page. If you have access to Alignable 360, then I can go and let's say I see Sharon's name, it'll say see matches or view. I can click view and I can see some important stuff about Sharon and how we are connected and what we have in common. And then I can click see matches and I can just go get in I can look through her entire network and sort it by my ideal customers, referral partners, and then I can ask her for an introduction. That's the quick way to describe it. So,
there was a lot of people at my meeting that didn't have business cards, and that was like, that's okay, that's not a problem, get that QR code out. So yeah, it's been wonderful.
I love it.
I see someone else up there joined.
All right, we got somebody else. So Chuck, what's your next question for these guys?
Well, I think when it comes down to it, what is your favorite thing? And Sharon, I'm going to start with you. What's your favorite thing about Alignable? How is it different than other places that, maybe you've tried to network with, or, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or anyone else? How's it different?
I think it's different. It's from other ones that I have seen and been offered to, hey, try this one, join this one. And I've, gone to other ones to see how do those work? Would that work for me or what? I found wouldn't, I know they work for a lot of people, but for me, it was more of a restriction. They would only take like one bookkeeper and that was it. And I was like, well, I want to meet more bookkeepers. I network with bookkeepers and accountants. I invite bookkeepers to my meetings and people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's not a competition. We're here to learn from each other and help each other out. So that just doesn't work for me. But I do know a lot of businesses love that type of thing. That's great. But I found several of them just, you can only be one plumber, one this, and
Mm.
I like just whoever, whatever, and the meetings were different. I felt more free when I go to other Alignable meetings. It just
Mhm.
is feel more comfortable, more casual. It doesn't feel, I don't have to sell anything. I don't feel pressured like I have to, get X amount of referrals or I'm gonna get kicked out or something like that. It's to me, it was stressful. It's like this is supposed to be uh, fun, networking
Right.
and relaxed. So that's what I had found.
God, I love it. I just want everybody, I hope you heard this. And Chuck and I were both like, ah, when she was saying this, right, Chuck? It's like I don't believe in competition. And you know what? Everybody's different. Yes, there's thousands of bookkeepers and real estate agents and whatever. But you know what? We're all different. And that's why Sharon keeps saying this, and so does Maria. Build relationships, because you're not going to connect with everybody. I just did an event called How to Identify Your Ideal Customers and Referral Partners. I'll share the link, will be the replay's going to be shared. But Maria, answer Chuck's question about anything on Alignable is what he was saying.
I will compare it to Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook, if I was reaching out to people and saying, hey, this is what I do, I own a barter company, do you like to barter? I'm looking for a plumber or something like that. People would, for the most part, they're thinking, oh, you're probably some kind of scam selling me some weird thing from another foreign country or something really bizarre. Because that's what I feel when I get something from someone on Facebook. It's usually something that is sketchy. So the authenticity and the sincerity and the honesty and the goodness of people in general, Alignable, that's like night and day. And the way that you're treated and the way that you look at things that you see that are coming your way too. So that's why, for instance, if this guy Harrison in Texas said, hey, this is what I do, would you like to meet? I'm like, well, you're from Alignable, so of course I'll meet you. Like, I want to hear what you have to say, but I wouldn't feel that same way if it was someone on Facebook, for sure. On LinkedIn, for the most part, everything is so automated in terms of the spam messages that you get because they're not authentic. Like, hi, I'm so and so. Nice to meet you. I'd love to learn more about your business. It's more of like somebody spits something out that they're spitting out to another 1,000 people, and then if you don't respond within 3 days, they go, did you hear me? Or whatever weird responses there are. There's like these, I don't know, AI comes up with it. And so I'm like, after 3 of those, like, did you see the last one? I want to like just like disconnect to them and never like I look for where's the delete thing that I can never see anything from them again. So that's the difference. Like for me, that's the difference. It's about the entire group of people and how everyone makes everyone else feel.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. Yeah, I know for a fact, and maybe I'm sure there's AI agents out there doing that, but I know a lot of people hire
Can I call you back?
those VAs in like, the Philippines or whatever, and they're the ones, the VAs are doing that copying, pasting. In fact, I hate to say this, but someone did that on Alignable yesterday. And so I'm going to tell you the story, and then I want to hear from you guys what you would do. So someone obviously, it was a copy pasted message, and it was self-promotional, and you could tell it was copy and pasted because they always have those bigger lines. You just know. And so I just took it upon myself to say, you know what, I work for Alignable, and this isn't, I would encourage you to go learn how to use Alignable, whatever I said in there. And you know what, she came back, oh, that was my virtual assistant that's doing that. I was like, Alignable is not about that. So, and then I had someone, this is my question for you. I had a lady in the event I just did earlier that said, I'm new to Alignable, and I've been on the Smart Connects, and I've gotten 4 or 5 people that I get on the Smart Connect, and all they do right away is say, this is what I do. Here's my website. If you go there and sign up, I will give you some free commission. If you refer a whole bunch of people to me, I'll give you referral fees. And they didn't talk, nothing else. That was it. And the girl goes, I don't know what to do. I just want to leave the room. And it's just like, and like a bunch of people, what would you tell her to do? What is your, if you guys run across somebody that's obviously self-promotional, that is used to LinkedIn and Facebook, I'm not going to say bad things about them because that's what they come from. And they don't
Right.
know that
They
Alignable is
don't know
different.
the difference,
They
right?
don't know the difference. So how do you help them? Maria, go first, and then we'll go to Sharon.
Well, first of all, I want to say that, if I ever meet anyone like that in any setting, I actually feel really sorry for them because they haven't been trained well as a business owner. And so they're going to struggle and probably at some point just kind of give up because that just does not work. And so um, you know, if I have the chance, and you don't always, it's not like you're going to meet somebody who private messages you and just become like their mentor or something. But if there's ever the opportunity for me to do something to help them to find a better path, then I will. Whether that's, just having a chat on the phone or you know, having a Zoom meeting or something and trying to like say, hey, you know what? I've been a business owner for over 30 years and these are the things that have worked for me. So there's just some ideas for you to see if this might work. And honestly, it's crazy. And I say this to people, but I don't take referral fees or commissions from anyone because I have a job. I get paid for my job. That's my job. But other than that, everything that I say to someone as far as like referring another person is just heartfelt from me. So maybe you could find representatives that you could pay commissions to, but it's never going to be me because I just don't do it ever. And that's actually true. So I can step away with an answer that they really can't come back and say, well, maybe next year, you'll work for us or, be a representative. Because it's like, no, I have one business and that's what I do. So.
Exactly. And Sharon, if someone comes to you and just starts, all they do right away is start pitching their business that they don't even ask anything about you, what do you do anything to help or guide them in a different way?
Yes. I kind of go back to square one from how I started out on, look, I can I understand what you're doing and maybe what you're thinking, but that's not what Alignable is all about. It's unless you're ready to do like a paid advertisement on Alignable, then that would be the place that you could post about your business, and that's a different direction that you could go. But as far as actually connecting to people, that's not going to help your business. And if you really want to know how to get clients and to get customers and referrals, we need to, why don't we have a Zoom or a chat and talk a little bit more about how Alignable can really help you and grow your business. You're not in this alone. We're going to do this together in a team. It's not just me. There's more people out there, and we all band together. And it's a different way of doing it. And I think you'd be really excited to hear about what Alignable really has to offer. And you're missing out by doing it that way. I think there's a different way perhaps you could approach it.
Oh, I love it. Chuck, next question. Your turn.
Boy, okay. Boy, that's a tough act to follow there.
That was really, really good advice. I hope you all heard that. Really good advice.
That definitely was. That was. Let me I know that Maria has been very visible on Alignable and increasingly so each year. Partially because of the contest, of course, but other things that Maria's been doing. So, Maria, to this group, what's the importance of in-person networking? Because I will tell everybody here, Maria is one of the best party planners I have ever met. And I'm in PR and we're party planners too. So, that in-person networking in the midst of everything else that we're doing, how important is that, not just as an ambassador, but really as a business person?
Well, for me, it's really kind of everything because I own a regional business.
Right.
I really just do business in Eastern and Central Pennsylvania. So I want to meet people in person, and I also want to drive through the towns of, where my customers live and work because, you'd be amazed at how important that is. When, let's say, you have customers in Reading or Pottstown or in the Poconos, and then suddenly you're driving for the first time through East Stroudsburg and you're like, this is like so cute. I love it. Because then you kind of had this personal buy-in. It's not like your town, but you feel like you've been there and you understand it, and you just love it more. And so I think that's like what happens when you have in-person events. Things happen that will never happen in your living room. I've said this for years. I've said, and it's not totally true because I can make money on Alignable, like literally just in my office here, my home office. That can happen. I'm not saying people have to ever leave their home, but for me, things happen that are just more exciting, and that wouldn't happen right here, just doing this all on Zoom. And I'm glad that you guys pushed me like out of the nest and made me do the in-person events, obviously.
Well, you really knock them out of the park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll give you like really an incredible example. I've been friends with this lady, Cheryl Houtz from Blairtown, who's an insurance agent, and she's just a fun, wonderful person and believes in networking so sincerely that she comes from Boyertown, which is like pretty far from the Poconos. We're talking like over an hour because it's an hour for me. So it's over an hour. It's like an hour and a half. She comes to my events in the Poconos. And she comes to my events in Berks County. She comes to my events in Lehigh Valley religiously. And we just got to be friends, never really talked a whole lot about business. We did finally get to meet and do like a Zoom meeting, just to know about one another and what we did, what we both do. And so then I had an event in Reading, and she walks up to this guy who's sitting at the bar, who's not there for the networking event. It just so happened that this was a restaurant where a whole bunch of business owners happened to be hanging out. So I walk over, I see some guys that have this commercial construction company. I pulled one of my guys in the networking group that owns a gutter company. I'm like, Jimmy, here, let's go over, say hi to those. I'll introduce you. And they're like, we're not here for the networking event. I was like, oh, yeah, sorry. But they're, no, you don't mind, it's fine. So I introduced him. And then I come over to the other side, and Cheryl says, I want you to meet my friend Bob, because his company, which is a $2 billion a year company, they do a ton of barter, like millions of dollars a year. And I was like, really? Oh, okay. And so lo and behold, Bob and I meet with his team in his boardroom, and now he's one of my clients. But it's because she knew about my business, I knew about hers, and she happened to know this guy from another networking group that she was a part of. And for some reason, like, she said, hey, this is Maria, this is what she does, she's the ambassador here. And he was like, wow, I want to talk to her. But how cool is that? Like, is that really not what networking is all about? That's how it all comes around full circle.
I love it. And because we have 5 minutes left, I want to hear from Sharon. I want you to give, if there's anyone new to Alignable and they just joined recently and they don't really know what to do, what are your biggest tips on how to get started?
Well, for one, you should look in your area and see if anybody is an ambassador in your immediate area. And if not, look into seeing about becoming an ambassador. If there is someone already that's an ambassador there, go to that meeting or connect with them if you're not able to get in person, and start networking right along with the ambassador. And when you go to the meeting, connect as much as you can with anybody that you can, and to bring a friend. It's always fun to bring a friend, and you just don't know. You'd be amazed, even though you might not walk out of there, with any business, but your friend might. So and then that grows. They're like, well, maybe I should be joining Alignable. It just starts growing. So bring a friend and don't be shy.
And what about on Alignable on the platform? What would you, any tips for people on Alignable?
Join the groups that you really do feel that is going to suit you the most, that you're going to have those connections, those conversations with, like I am with the bookkeepers and women's business. We have a lot to talk about, and we have a lot in common. We have a lot of referrals that we can give each other, a lot of advice that we can share, and that really is fun, and it gets each of us lifted up, and that gives you a good feeling. It makes you want to go back and join another online meeting.
Oh, I love it. How about you? What are your tips for newbies, Maria?
Oh gosh, it's been a long time since I was a newbie, but I always try to tell people to just really have fun, like looking around and checking out all the things that are there, because there is so much that, you know, every business is a little bit different. So the things that you are looking for are going to be a little bit different. And that's the thing that is actually quite unique about Alignable, is the fact that you can target so specifically local, regional, national. You can see exactly what town someone is in and what their business category is. You cannot do that on any other platform. And so, you know, I think that just getting a strategy together and looking around, seeing what everything is so that you're familiar, and then you can really start kind of zooming around and doing what I said, like, hey, in 2 minutes I can get this list together for you. And to me, it just blow your mind. But I have done that with people. I have said, what's your goal? Tell me what you want to do. And they'll tell me, okay, I want to meet people in Baltimore. I'm having this conference there. Great. Let's go on there. I'm going to find all the people that are potential advertisers, referral partners, the kind of businesses that would want to participate, you know, everything. And they're like, 2 hours later, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is just, it is mind blowing. It really, really is. Because I know it works. So anyway,
There
yeah.
you go. I would hope that everyone will go back to the event post here and connect with these two for sure.
Yes.
They are the people that are going to help you and guide you and inspire you, especially. And I did post in the chat, I posted some links there. The Alignable University group has, you guys, I've posted so many cool events in there. I am doing, in fact, Amy, I don't know, Chuck, if you knew this, but tomorrow, Amy's doing Alignable Etiquette, the
Mm.
do's and definitely don'ts on Alignable. She's the head of our member
And that's
success.
the title of it too.
It
Yeah.
is, it is. And then next week I'm doing networking for introverts. Oh my gosh, Jason Integrity and Sherry Pedrioli and I are doing Not Getting Any Customers on Alignable. From crickets to clients, it's called. And they're gonna be,
Oh, cute.
isn't that
That's
cute? And
really cute.
yeah, and they're no holds barred. They tell it like it is. They will tell you, do not be a goofball.
Don't be a
I know.
goofball.
He's like, you're not going to be a goofball. And then he tells you what a goofball is. And
And then he sells you the shirt too. That's the
yeah,
other.
I actually have a shirt that says, don't be one of his shirts.
He
So
made a shirt after one of our things.
exactly. And then also in the chat, it says members only group. It's called the Alignable Insider Community. That's for anyone who has a verified premium or premium plus badge on their profile. In other words, any paid members on Alignable. I am teaching people how to become a best-selling author overnight and how to write a book, even if you're not a writer. It's only for members, but you want to get into that one. Oh gosh, there's some other great events going on in there. Today I'm doing a special Insiders Mastermind this afternoon. So anyway,
And on top of it, folks, I want to plug the Alignable Insider community, because a couple weeks ago, I did a special session on getting PR, free
oh,
PR, and getting yourself out there. Because, you know, of course, I want all the contest winners to be doing that too. And any way I can help. And Sue, you don't even know this. I've got 14 people lined up for a follow-up at 5 today.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
out
So
of that event.
I love that. And so that's what the cool thing is. If you're a paid member on Alignable, we are just adding value up the yin yang, and you get access to this amazing business training, marketing training, PR training, all this stuff. You just have to be in that group. So lastly, we went over for a minute, but thank you, Sharon and Maria. You are
Thank
amazing.
you.
So good.
Everybody
So
connect with
fun. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
being
everybody.
here, guys. You're amazing.
And
Thank-
get Sue's book, Networking
It-
with Heart. It is awesome. It's easy read. Get
Yes,
it.
it is.
All
yeah,
right.
wherever
It's
that is.
great.
All right, guys. Thank
Bye,
you.
you
Bye,
guys.
Ellen.
Thanks, Ellen.
Bye.
Bye.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
everybody.
Bye. See ya.